Right, hello YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. Now, for those of you who haven't seen, you might be wondering what this magnificent craft in front of you is. This is our Grand Tour ship. This is meant to take our crew all the way around all of Jool's 5 moons, land on each of them, set up a full little scientific base, and come back. It's going to be a big mission. Now, I believe we have all prerequisites met for our contract, because we are also, as well as our normal crew, we are actually bringing a tourist for the tour. In fact, we will actually inflate that as well for the full effect. We do have a heat shield on the front of the ship as well. Inflating it won't make any difference to the weight or anything. So yeah, I guess that will act as a bit of a radiation shield as well while we're in flight. So, before this craft launches, there is one thing we have to do, and that, our electrical charge is fine, is we have to send an engineer out. It will be Bill in this case. It will not be Bill in this case. He can't get out of the current component. Capsule, I should say. Gleber, I believe you were able to before. Yes. Gleber is going to reinforce the ship. Okay, those are the struts. For some reason, they're not showing their visuals. Basically, really? Gleber is going to have to drop his parachute off and then come back with the struts to reinforce the ship. But yes, we're going to use some struts and we're going to strap the two landers in place because of the way they're attached. I'm worried we'll get a bit of wobble. So he is going to take a quick EVA mission out to strap them down, basically. I believe the hostel has a load of space in it that we can use to store our parachute temporarily. No, it doesn't, because it's the one that's full. One of these has space. That's the lab. Station control. Yes, there we go. We'd have to put his parachute in there. We may have to remember to have him dock and refill his RCS fuel because he is going to be out here for a little bit of time. So I just have to make sure I don't forget that. Where was the way in? Was it there? I think it's where that light is. But we can find somewhere he can dock at any rate. So the tethers. Really? Oh wait, I think he can. Can he construct without having to do that? Okay, he might be able to. We go from. Oh, it's too far off. Okay. Can we not do that then? I don't know that we have a way to move to. Oh dear. We may not be able to, in fact, reinforce the landers because I don't know if we can get the struts out. Because apparently they're too heavy. We could do it on the ground. We could move them if we were on the ground, but this ship isn't built to land. Oh boy. I did not realise that was going to be an issue. Okay, I guess once more, we can't do something we'd planned to. Not the first time that's even happened on this mission. As far as I'm aware, we can't move the struts without, Oh, unless we can just drag them around. Can we drag them around the inside of the craft? Is that a thing we can do? Can we go... Oh, we can. Okay, so the Kerbals can transfer them through the craft itself. Okay, no, we can do this then. I was going to say, it's going to be really annoying if we can't. We should only need those ones. Right, where's Gleber? As long as they're near the right component, they should be able to, yeah, this RCS fuel was refilled. Yeah, as long as he's near that component, which is near the landers anyway, he should then be able to construct with the stuff that's on board them. Or she even. Oh, she. My apologies. Kerbals are equal opportunity. Yes, they are that too, but they are equal opportunities employers, I suppose. Happy to take whoever's competent, which is very true actually for the real space programs. Like it was men early on, but nowadays they're like, if you're up to the task, you can do it. Right. So we go strut from there to there. Another one Oh, I was going to say don't bonk the antenna, but he just clips straight through it. She just clips straight through it, so I guess that's not an issue. Oh. Oh, I guess I can... Oh, I put some struts on board the things as well, I guess. That makes it nice and easy. So why aren't you responding? Oh, calm down, calm down. Yeah, I think there's struts on board the landers themselves, actually, so I don't think I even had to worry about moving the others. I think we've just got some spare. Yeah, Pandora Advanced Command Pods, which are these 4-man pods. Now, I think we will have to detach these to be able to undock, although we'll test it and find out once we get there, but we'll maybe just use one lander until further notice, and if one of them malfunction, we've got the spare, and if not, we don't have to move the stuff over. Right. Trying very carefully not to bash anything as well, because I'm pretty sure she could easily smash those solar panels if she hits them even at a drift. So, lander secured. Can't really secure the front section because it's got a great big centrifuge that cuts through the struts. So, I believe we're ready to plan for our actual transfer maneuver. Save. Right. First thing I think we need to do is boost our own apoapsis because we're very close to the planet's surface. So, this will be our first test of the fusion engines, which is going to be interesting. So, in apoaps to 1 kilometers or whatever it is. We still have a liquid fuel engine active somewhere. Which one is that? Oh, 4 liquid engines. It's the little ones on here. 30,000 fuel. Have we got more delta V than I thought we had? Oh, I probably overbuilt it. It's probably deliberate. I thought we had about 20,000. The other thing that might be right, I might simply have miscalculated the weight of the craft. Or it might be accounting for the fact that I'm going to burn up all the fuel, which we're not. Yeah, actually, it's probably thinking because I'll burn all the fuel from the landers. But we're not actually going to have done that. So, yeah, 22,000. Okay. Not as much as I'd like. Again, we may try some shenanigans with the landers if it turns out we're shorter than I think than I'd like. We are a 32-ton rocket. Or ship, rather, which is about what I thought it would be. I believe that's fairly on par with what I thought. Jool. Set as target. No, wait, no, we need to do our thing first. So change app wipes to 1000. Let's parry apps. Quick save. Quick node, and we'll be burning these nodes manually. Burn time 3 minutes. 27 seconds. Okay. It's 3 minutes 28 seconds. That would be. So we need the warp helper here. What would it be? 1 minute 30 plus 15 seconds would be what? 145? 145 seconds. If we do 150 seconds, but we rotate to Smart ASS node. How is our torque? Is the next question. Low, but while we could use monopropellant to speed things up, it might be safer to let it rotate slowly. Just not breaking anything, because this is still a brand new craft, and it is still potentially a bit fiddly. Tell you what actually we'll do. We'll also do action groups editor, and we will set 2 to be activate the burn engine. So we can activate the engine on a button press when we're ready to fire. Because this engine will cannot rerun at like less than, I think, like 5% power. So once we get to that point, it'll shut down automatically, basically. Man, it looks good. I really do like how this thing came out looks-wise. It looks properly like... It looks sci-fi, but it looks like something that could exist. We'll keep an eye on the electric charge. We'll keep that up in the background. Because we're probably going to be using a lot. I don't believe we have to keep these nuclear pellets cool. Yeah, you don't have to cool them. They are solid, I believe, but we don't have to worry about cooling our fuel, but we will have some passive power usage from things like the antenna. Yeah, if we get into space and we lose signal with base, we'll have it point at the beacon. For the sake of sending data back. Right, I believe we are on node. What? Oh wait, hang on. Yeah, we're a little ahead, I think, actually. That would be, what, 1 minute 45 seconds, was it? That would be 105 seconds. So, in fact, if we go 110... Actually, we'll just wait. So we need to be at 145. We'll wait at this point, actually. I think we're quite close. It's a bit of a boring wait, but hey. So 145, and then we activate the engine. Don't know if there's any gimbal on this thing, is there? There is gimbal. I don't know how that works with an engine like this, but apparently we do have some. Maybe they can adjust the nozzle. I suppose it is I think it's a sort of magnetic nozzle to keep the fusion stuff going the right way. Plasma, I suppose. Plasma, I suppose it would be. Most engines in sci-fi are plasma. Or realistic sci-fi, I suppose I should say. Fizz warp. It's a little quicker because it's a bit slow. I think it's lagging a little bit because our craft is quite big. And there's not much we're going to be able to do about that, except for when we launch the landers. Things will speed up again. And we are running. And yes, you might notice if you saw the other one, yes, it is very similar. Although I noticed the whole nozzle is moving back on this one. It is effectively a fusion explosion. But yeah, you can see the little the little mechanism moving into place there. I think it's magnetically induced fission, I think it said. So it will explode those pellets and propel us forwards, and it will do so very efficiently. You might also notice the radiators are starting to heat up. Yes, we are generating a lot of heat. They are running at full. They are running at full efficiency at the moment. Don't know about these. These might be quite good as well, actually, because they're flat. Yeah, aligned. 100% efficiency. So yes, our maneuver begins. They are going to be slow, because the game is running a little slow, and it is not very fast anyway. So I'll probably cut out the... What I'll do is I'll cut out the maneuvers until we get to our sort of maneuver for going out to Jool. I'll cut out the circularization. All I'm going to do is kick up to 1,000 and then circularize. So I'll catch up with you guys in a moment. Alright, and we're back. We are now circularized at pretty much 1,000,000. It is time to create our maneuver to Jool. The game is definitely running a bit slow. The craft is definitely on the large side, and I think hitting about the limit of what the computer can deal with, especially considering that we've also got OBS running and actually recording. But I will definitely be cutting out this maneuver once we actually get to it, because it is it's 2k delta V, which is not much actually. I don't know how much it's going to take us to slow down at the far end, though, mind, but it's going to take a while in real time. Right. Create node. So what we'll probably do is we'll do a manual high-speed time warp to get us closer to the launch. Actually, wait, no, we can use warp helper, can't we? Right, we'll still do a manual. Actually, no, we'll just do a regular time warp. So we need to warp to. It's going to be a 16-minute burn, 16 minute 11 seconds. That would be 8:05, basically 8 minutes and 5 seconds. 8 times, well, 10 times 6 would be 600. That's 120. It'd be 485. So we'll go for 500. With a little bit of leeway even. We'll point to node, and if we're drifting, we'll drop out of time warp and let it rotate. Okay, well, we'll also try, for the first time, rotating using the monopropellant we have on board. Because if we use up some of that, we'll increase our actual main fuel for later. Oh, and it's using up a tiny bit of our liquid fuel and oxidizer, which will make the rocket a bit lighter. Actually, no, we don't. We outright don't want it doing that. Now I think about it, because we need to be able to make sure the lander can land. We need to have one lander on at least pretty much full fuel to make sure it can definitely land at Tylo. Actually, no, it's fine. We could do that still. We just have to disable these the large RCS blocks that are the ones that I found out too late run on a solid fuel. Disable that one. Do I need to disable all of them? Yeah. We'll just use the monopropellant blocks. Yeah, because that's what I thought these were anyway. They weren't really designed to be running. I noticed the sort of fuel flame, but yeah, they weren't really supposed to be any of them running on solid fuel. On regular fuel even, I should say. Solid fuel RCS. Oh boy, that would be an interesting one. I tried to think on the math you'd have to do there and how easy it'd be to get that wrong. The maneuver node is being a little bit weird. I might have to quickly recreate the maneuver node because it's going to be thrown off very slightly by the RCS slightly adjusting the course. It wouldn't be too much of a problem on a small maneuver, but because it's so far away, it's actually enough to affect it. These tiny pulses are very slightly affecting our orbit, but a very slight adjustment at one end in space can be a few million miles at the other end, so you do have to be a bit careful. The lighting's also being a little bit weird, as you've probably noticed. Not sure why this bit's glowing so bright. Is that bright on the other side? Okay, I guess it's just the lights in that particular capsule. But the engine bay's identical module's not lighting up quite that much, so go figure. Anyway, we burn off a bit of monopropellant weight, which is what we're trying to do. Move node, create node. Point us to node. Yeah, oh, it's actually slightly out now. Yeah, okay, we need to let it. We need to let it maneuver manually, slightly painful as it is. I have a feeling this mission to our Jool is going to take a while, at least in real time. But yes, like I say, we'll probably, like I said this last episode, but I'll say it in this one as well, the plan for this space program has always been to launch an Eeloo colony. I will probably do that as the next mission. We could go to Moho, we could go to some other places we haven't been to yet. Oh, I have knocked something off my desk. But rather than that, because I'd like to do something different, I'd like to actually, I said about Snormworks before, but I've actually changed my mind on that. I've realised, oh, hang on a minute. Most popular video on the channel by a long shot is still the From the Depths review. I was thinking, you know what, let's take a crack at that campaign as well. I've really enjoyed the Kerbal one. I like From the Depths. We'll do that campaign next, or at least we'll have a crack at it. At least a better go than I've ever had before. Yes, and MechJeb is once again forgetting that there is another gear to the time warp. We'll quick save because it is running slow, and that's the sort of thing that tends to make MechJeb's auto warp miss the intended destination when it comes to time warp. We aren't drifting off node, which is good. Shouldn't have to do a big rotate at the end. Or even midway. Sometimes your rotation will actually drift a little bit away from your node. I don't know what causes it, but it definitely can happen. Oh my god, the game is suffering. I might even have to make the colony ship either a bit smaller or launch it in multiple pieces. Or build something like a warp ship that can potentially pick up a colony piece, fly out, and warp. Because we will have a lot of science by the time this mission is done if we are successful. And even if we're only semi-successful. If we are only semi-successful, we're going to have a budget issue, but we could potentially leave the booster part of this craft in orbit and reuse it, which will save us a lot of money. In fact, I might even try and do that anyway if we can slow this craft down at the end of the Jool mission. If we can slow it down into an orbit around Kerbin, I will leave it up there and I will disconnect the rest of the ship. I think I will burn up the rest. But yeah, we'll see how things go. But yes, we can always potentially launch more fusion fuel and refuel it basically and have it ready to go again. The lower section of the craft works. It needs more power than it can provide by default on its own, but Again, apologies for how slow this is getting because of the lag. Hopefully the recording is coming out okay. I think the recording will lag, but we'll see, I guess. Let's stop the flickering as well. Quick save, now that we're only 10 days off. Again, real Space Program would actually time their launch, so they wouldn't be waiting around too long in orbit. We're not doing that. Basically because it does not matter so much in Kerbal. Kerbals don't get bored in anything as long as you haven't got fuel on board that could boil off. We probably would have boiled off a ton of fuel at this point because of our power running out at night. Basically because of time warp. So I'm glad we don't have any boil-offable fuel on board. Not sure whether the fission pellets would actually have perished at this point in real life, but no, actually I suppose I don't know what they are. I think they might be plutonium or something actually, I'm not sure. Okay, I was about to manually stop that myself because that was getting a bit worrying. Right. Good news is it is daytime, so we will have power during our burn, which is excellent. So putting at node, right. Full power and quick save, and then we will go. We should be close enough to the intended burn time here. Right. Engine is running. We are on course. And I will get back to you guys once we have arrived at our intended maneuver. Or once we're on course for Jool. See you in a moment. Alright, and once more we're back. We are nearly there. We have... Oh, we actually already have an encounter. Our maneuver is actually already done. I'm going to let it play a little bit more. Actually, what's our periaps? Yeah, it's descending. That's good, actually. I'll let it play out a little bit further. So I'm usually happy to cut the second we have an encounter, but I want to ideally run this quite close to the 210 that we're aiming for. That means it minimises the amount of adjustment we have to do later. Okay, and cut. 220! Excellent. That's still in orbit around it, but it isn't going to re-enter. Now again, originally we were planning to do an aero brake, but I think with the profile the craft's ended up on, especially given that we can't retract the solar panels, and we're going to need them, I'm going to stick with that for now. We'll take that as definitely good enough. Now, the only side thing is going to be how much it takes to slow down once we actually reach Jool. If that turns out to be really high, that can affect our fuel a bit. Because at the moment, we've got a good 20k delta V, and if it doesn't take too much to circularize, that's pretty good. That should be enough to do all our maneuvers, because we have to visit every moon, and we're going to have to adjust our inclination to be polar, because we've got to be able to scan the planet first, because we need to find good landing spots. If we don't find landing spots of ore, we're not going to be able to refuel. That's not so critical on most of the moons, but we definitely have to do it for Tylo. We don't have a choice there. The others potentially not so much. Lathe, the lander, should be able to land basically on parachute. Oh yeah, also I've had the antimatter our new antimatter scanner running, and apparently I think we've found some around Kerbin. I don't know, space just to... Red. Yeah, so interestingly enough, there's antimatter around Kerbin, which I didn't know there would be. There's also this mysterious resource that I haven't identified, but yeah, so it looks like there is some antimatter close to Kerbin, some higher up, I guess. So yeah, if we want to collect antimatter from Kerbin, apparently there are places we can do it. Should be good for later engines. We also have some site experiments we can run, and we will do so. We'll transfer the data to the... Ooh. We should transfer it back to Kerbin and then back to the lab. We'll transfer that data to the lab because we can clean out the experiments. Gravity scan. I think we might as well have the lab running while we're on the way up. I believe that's the lab. Yep. Experiments and lab operational. Yeah, we have some data. Level up the crew. Hey, we can level our whole crew up to level 1. Cool. So our unleveled crew are already leveled up. I suppose they would be by the time they've run a mission like this. Even just getting this thing assembled. Right. And of course, the entire point of this mission is collect science, so we do want to be doing that. So I believe now at this point, I think probably our episode is going to end with us reaching Jool. Again, I'm hoping to get a bit more done in this one, but just the sheer time these maneuver burns are taking has slowed things down a bit, because they are They have been very slow. You can clearly see the game is suffering a little bit now. I may even have to like close Kerbal midway and reopen it if it's starting to leak memory a little bit, which it might potentially be. So we're doing an awful lot. It does tend to get stressed if it's been running too long. With quite a lot happening. Hyper warp. But yes, encounter with Jool will be fairly simple. We will just do a circularize at periaps, and we should already be at about the right altitude. Not going to adjust the time warp because it looks like it's going to encounter without having the usual issue it does, where it loses track of where you actually encounter towards the end. I still don't know why it does that, but it does happen. Our power is fluctuating rather interestingly. I am going to drop temporarily. Our power is fluctuating rather interestingly. I'm guessing that's because of the radiator. The radiator's all still running. Which they don't really need to be, but I'm going to leave them running for now so I don't have to redeploy them. If our powers are quite low once we hit the system, I might deactivate them temporarily until we're about to do our maneuver. Here comes Jool. Yes, I believe our actual contract for the Grand Tour does not actually require us to land on the planet. So if our fuel is getting very low, though it's not ideal, aside from for Lathe, where we have to land, where we're going to have to land on it because the suborbital trajectory is going to re-enter, or it's going to hit the atmosphere rather and slow down. Theoretically, we could just do a dive where we just dive into the low altitude orbit of these various places. Oh, that's not where I thought it would be at all. That's fine. And then just get the correct planets like stuff that way. But in theory, as long as we could do Jool and Tylo, we should be fine. Oh, Lathe and Tylo, we should be fine for the rest anyway. Next, periaps. Great node. Yeah, it's going to be another long burn. It'll be another one where we'll get to it and then we'll skip ahead. Right, 10 minutes. It'll be 600 seconds. 660 seconds roughly, halved 330. It's 345, and that should be about right. As you can see, you can approximate larger burns. Point to node. But in theory, we'd like to do this Grand Tour properly. I'd like to actually properly land on all 5 planets. Frame rate should get way better once we're detached from the main craft. We can load up the... We will have to load up science equipment onto the lander for each mission, but that shouldn't be too bad. Seeing as we found out we can transfer without having a Kerbal out there actually actively doing it. The Kerbals are able to sort of move stuff on board themselves, which is good. Yeah, I'd like to see these things working, because the idea of these landers, I suppose for those of you who weren't there when we were designing them, is they are mining capable. You can see the drill on the back, and you can see the oil tank on the front. We do have scanning equipment on board this craft. We have a normal like orbital survey thing, antenna, and a narrowband which scans for ore within about 500,000 meters, I believe. So what we will do is we will, before we land anywhere, we will put ourselves into a polar orbit around the planet. We shouldn't take too much fuel on most of them, and we will scan the place for resources. The idea of our missions is we scan the place for resources, land somewhere where there are resources, use the mining systems to mine and refine a fresh load of fuel for each lander, and then come back again. We're going to land on Tylo first, before any of the others, because for the Tylo landing, we basically will need a full tank. There's about 800 Delta V leeway in it, and that's going to be needed to get back to the craft to rendezvous with the main ship. There's no getting away from that. We have to make that work. The others have way lesser requirements. In fact, I think that probably means, because it will have used up its fuel by the time it returns, we're probably going to be hauling one empty lander around, because we're not going to be able to land it and refuel it. Yeah, in fact, what that means is we should do Tylo first, because that one will need to land and refuel and come back, and then the next lander should go to Lathe last, because then it will be able to do it can land on the chutes mostly, and then it will need most of its fuel for a takeoff and return. Yeah, so I'll write that down. Hang on. So Tylo, say, we'll just literally go bop, pole, val, just in that order at random, and then we'll do lathe. Okay, moving in position. Solar panels are working, but they're not working very well anymore. It's not just the engine recharging, is it? No, the engine's charged. Yeah, I believe the solar panels aren't working very well anymore. We're too far out. They are recharging. Are they actually just recharging slower than the... I have to deactivate the radiators temporarily because they use a lot of power. I think it's just because we're using a lot of torque to rotate. I really hope we're actually getting enough power to be able to recharge this craft. I wouldn't have thought it would be completely out yet. If we are, we might even have to turn the lights off just to make sure we have enough. Warp to maneuver. Okay, power came back immediately. It's just because we were talking. So yeah, we have to be a bit careful with our power consumption because we don't want to be left out here with no power. This craft is big. Doing anything on it uses up a lot. But yes, so I'm guessing our first our encounter with Tyler is basically going to be diving down onto it. I need to slow down a fair bit because we are a lot higher above Jool than I thought we were. I thought we were going to be coming in at 210 kilometers and it was 2 million. But yeah, there's the 5 planets. I thought that was the 5 planets. There's only 4. What? What's Val? Oh, it's there. I just couldn't see it for some reason. Right. Full throttle. And we are decelerating. Right. Tell you what. I'll leave the episode there, and we'll start the next episode with us making our way to Tylo for our first landing. Oh shoot! I need to activate the radiators, or this craft's going to overheat. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. I've definitely enjoyed it. It's been although it's been a bit slow, to say the least. It's been really cool just taking our craft out to where we've been planning to go for so long, finally launching the mission. And yeah, next time we will make our landing on Tylo. I try to remember to say this at the end of at least some of the episodes. I am a games developer, as well as somebody who plays them, so if you want to support the channel, check out the links in the description to the games I've made. Made them all myself, complete, proper indie stuff. And also all the normal like, comment, subscribe stuff. That really helps as well. See you guys all next time. Bye-bye.